When I was a primary caregiver for my mom as she went through treatment for non-Hodgkin lymphoma, I often wondered what the side effects of the chemotherapy actually felt like. Because my mom wasn't the type of person to go into great detail about what she was experiencing or feeling. She would make statements like, "Ugh, I feel so terrible, I'm miserable, my entire body aches," but she would never correlate how she felt in those moments to anything else she had felt previously in her life when she had other ailments. Like, she could have told me when she was feeling feverish that it reminded her of when she would have the flu and you couldn't regulate your body temperature. You're so hot at moments and sweating, and then you're suddenly so cold, things like that. She was never drawing any parallels for me to actually relate to what she was going through. It was always just these blanket statements that were very intangible. However, there was one side effect that needed no further explanation because I was all too familiar with them already, and that was mouth sores. My mom had gotten them throughout the entirety of her cancer treatment. They're very common when you go through chemotherapy. But when she was going through her hospitalization for her stem cell transplant, the high-dose chemotherapy had just blown up the degree of the mouth sores to the point where she was just in intolerable pain. And that's why Amy mentions to me that I should bring up this solution that was given to her in a prior hospitalization that was basically a numbing agent for the mouth. And I tell her that my mom didn't like it previously and that she wouldn't actually use it, and also that the hospital in Omaha, Nebraska probably had the equivalent as well. I did try that mouthwash when I was caregiving for my mom because I wanted to see if she was being hyperbolic about the numbness sensation that it was producing, but she was right. It was tingling in a way that it didn't feel very comfortable. And then I would learn when I went through cancer treatment myself and was given the same type of mouthwash that it didn't do much to dull the pain of the mouth sores themselves. It just made your mouth feel uncomfortable and weird, and then you would still get the stinging sensation when you try to eat or drink anything. So it was pretty much pointless. In my last video, I mentioned how when you go through chemotherapy, your blood cell counts can get really nuked, and your reparative systems don't operate normally. And that has ramifications on mouth sores as well. They stick around way longer than usual, which just perpetuates the amount of pain that you're gonna experience from them. Anytime I get stressed out, I get at least one canker sore. It's been this way since high school. So when my mom was getting all these mouth sores, I related to exactly what she was experiencing because I knew that pain all too well. In fact, I've had a canker sore on my upper lip for about a week now, so there is so much footage from these videos where I'm taking a sip of water in between takes and I'm recoiling in pain, even though it's just water. It hurts that bad. Given that I've had canker sores my entire adult life, I have of course tried every trick in the book to get rid of them faster than just letting the body heal on its own. That's included scrubbing them with like a hard bristled toothbrush to try to make them bleed because I heard that would speed up the healing process, or covering them in salt, which just burned like hell, and doing salt rinses. Anything over the counter has been in my mouth before. And then I tried the digestive route, which was take a bunch of probiotics because allegedly that would help the healing mechanisms. But nothing ever worked that successfully. Cut to after my last dose of ABVD, my first chemotherapy regimen, I had developed one of the worst canker sores I had ever experienced in my life, which is on my lower lip. And I happened to have bitten it in addition to it already being a sore, which was a hellacious pain. And it ballooned in size to the point where like my entire lower lip was basically one giant canker sore. And it was horrendous. And of course they gave me that dumb mouthwash, which did nothing, especially because of where it was located. When you have it on your lower lip, you can't really do a mouth rinse because it's not in your mouth proper. So I'm like trying to juggle it to make it so that it would numb this area, but it wouldn't work that effectively. And then of course, every piece of food that I would eat or anything I drank would pass over it and just unleash a fury. And because my immune system had been assaulted for 6 months straight, every 2 weeks, that canker sore was not going anywhere. Finally, my oncologist prescribed me a mouth rinse that was a steroid called dexamethasone. Remember that name because it comes into play in part 4 in my book. And it was a miracle. Even after the first day of doing the rinses, I noticed a difference in the pain level. And then within a few days, it was pretty much entirely gone and I had no pain at all. Thankfully, the bottle was pretty big, so I kept that in my medical cabinet for quite a while. And anytime I had a mouth sore or a canker sore, I would start using the rinse again and bam, it would be gone. My mom was never prescribed that rinse during the course of her cancer treatment, and especially not during her stem cell transplant hospitalization when she was really dealing with those horrendous mouth sores. But neither was I during my hospitalization for my stem cell transplant when I was feeling the same thing due to the high dose chemotherapy. I can't remember why I wasn't allowed to take it. I know I asked for it given that I had success with it previously, but I imagine it's because the reason that the mouth sores were manifesting was different and maybe a steroid wasn't the right path to take at that moment. Who knows? I'm not a medical professional. They gave me oxycodone instead just to tolerate the pain when I was eating, which is a whole other story. It was effective, but probably not good in general. So if you or your loved one are dealing with really bad mouth sores or canker sores, one, I am so sorry. Hang in there. I feel you. I would not wish them upon my worst enemy. And two, ask your medical team if dexamethasone mouth rinse would be right for your specific condition, because it might get you on the path to healing way faster and get you some relief. In the video I'll be uploading tomorrow, July 30th, I'll be talking about the perspective of the person who is being hospitalized. So hit subscribe, leave any questions in the comments, and I'll see you then. So if you ever have a mouth sore or a canker sore, ask your doctor if oral dexamethasone is right for you, because it certainly was for me.